is everybody doing? I hope you all are having a wonderful day, a wonderful time. Before we get into the nitty and the gritty, let's do a bit of housekeeping, fam. Just a bit, just a smidge, if you will. Make sure, I think this is the 25th of this month. This is not a long book. We are going to be having a conversation, making Hispanics, and I hope to have another treat as regards to this book also as well to promote. But for right now, make sure you get this book. If you don't have it, you can still get it and finish reading it in time. Like I said, it's not a particularly dense book. It's not a particularly long book. So please, 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 please get this book so you too can partake in the newsletter. I mean, in the, speaking of the newsletter, in the book club. But speaking of the newsletter, if you are not getting the newsletter, it's not reaching for some reason, you signed up, please make sure you check your promotions and your spam folders. If you have not done that, please do that now. I would appreciate it. And make sure it's not in one of those folders. Okay? If you want to subscribe, I'm going to put a link in the description, because I know it stopped auto-populating like it used to. So I'm going to take care of that. Also, got a lot of stuff to take care of. If you want to support the channel, please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you do that. The like button costs you no money. If you want to donate, donatebrown.com, $breakingbrown for Cash App, patreon.com/YCarnell for Patreon, all that good stuff. But never forget, you can just hit that like button. It's always so helpful if you hit that button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Also, please hit that bell and make sure you're always getting notifications when we come on. Just double check that for me. I would absolutely appreciate it. You can go to Subscribe to Brown, subscribetobrown.com. Costs you nothing to go to subscribetobrown.com and add your name to the general mailing list. Okay, so I would appreciate that as well. Get your book. We're going to have a conversation. Now, fam, you know that's something that I absolutely hate doing, but I end up doing it all the time. I end up saying something that I don't even like saying. I'm not a boastful person. That's not who I am. That's not in my makeup. What is going on? My nose is itching on the top. Anyway, I don't try to do that stuff a lot. I really don't. But sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes it gives you pleasure. I have to admit. Now listen, we got to talk about Meghan Markle in the context, though, of what we're paying attention to versus what we should be paying attention to in terms of what we know versus what we should know. We have to talk about it in that context because this is not a gossip show. We're not a celebrity news show. We don't do any of that, right? For the most part, we talk about it in the context of social engineering, in the context of what we don't understand, in the context of being taken advantage of. So here we are. So if you all don't remember, I tweeted it out yesterday, I think, last night. One of the shows that I did about Meghan Markle, and during that whole thing, I said, this is stupid. I said, it is stupid that we are celebrating her inclusion, a symbolic inclusion into this sort of white dynasty. White, and why are we celebrating this, especially when it has a history that's connected to the slave trade? I said that. But while I was saying that, people were saying don't hate, right? Because it's announced that Meghan Markle is going to be marrying the prince and it's going to be all good. And, yes, sister girl, yes. I got to find me a prince. I got to find me a British bae. I got to find me, got to swirl a little bit, do whatever. I'm not saying nothing bad about nobody, but that was a stupid take. And it's stupid that we're even having this conversation. How many people are fixated and talking about an interview? Lil Don Lemon was just on the TV talking about racism and people of color and all the racism. You married into this thing. Listen. Let's just go back, right? It's not like something racist just happened to you on the street. It's not like you got fired from a job. It's not like you got oppressed, multi-generationally oppressed as an ADOS person by these people, and you did not expect none of what happened. These people have a history. And too often what happened here, what happened in this situation is the same thing that happens a lot. There are those of us who just desire to be tokenized. There are those of us who don't want to fight white supremacy. We want to be able to join it. If you would let me inside the big house, I would not fight you anymore. And we saw a lot of that. See, we're here to fight white supremacy. And that starts locally and it goes all the way up. But that's why we're here. We're not just here to kind of marry into it. Meghan Markle wasn't trying to fight white supremacy. She was trying to marry into it. And then it didn't go right. It went the way it was always going to go. Well, why would you say that, Yvette? Why would you say it's always going to go that way? Well, it's kind of very specific. These people are going to be who they are. You see, let me just break it down for a second for you. Everybody get all happy because to look at Serena and them. They all over there. Everybody up there. They doing it. Black people done arrived because they at the royal wedding. Well, this is just kind of a circus. It was a circus then, and us paying attention to it at the level that I'm seeing it be, it's a circus now too. Because Meghan Markle thought something that just wasn't true. She has been allowed to live a life in this country. We're talking about America. That's very different than the life and what she was kind of encountered there. So in this country, you were allowed to go join the white sorority. You are like the opposite of Kamala Harris in the sense of Kamala needed ADOSness. When we talk about blackness in this country, that's what you're really talking about. ADOSness for the most part. Nobody's saying that other groups don't exist, but we're talking about who paved that way, right? Especially during the time that Kamala graduated. She went to Howard because I need to anchor myself in that. I can't just anchor myself in being Indian American, right? Or Jamaican American, especially since I don't have a relationship with my father, really, from what I can tell. So Kamala anchored herself in blackness. Meghan Markle anchored herself in whiteness. They both made choices that you can see through the sorority that they chose. But guess what? Guess what, everybody? These people over there in the royal family, they do stuff by blood, old blue bloods, lineage, all that. When we talk about lineage, they've been doing it pure. No. You're not going to come over here and do what you did in America. You're not going to come over here with common or white blood and then slave blood. I don't know what her mother was, whether she was ADOS or something else, right? But you're not going to come over here from that line and then act like you ain't what you is. That's some American stuff. We don't do that over here. So when she talks about I was suicidal and you know, anybody who's going through mental health issues, my heart goes out to you, right? Just because I don't want nobody to feel that kind of angst and pain. But I don't know how you didn't know that they were gonna that this isn't what was gonna happen. They don't do that. They don't have the ethos of, well, everybody just work their way or whatever, even though America hasn't been true to that for us as ADOS. They don't even have it. That's why they have a royal family. That's why they have a monarchy. We have a monarchy. We have we elect people. They do too. We know that. But that symbolism that they have is very important for them. And who gets to be a part of it is very important for them. You thought you was gonna get treated and be able to identify and do what you wanted to do like you do here in America. Not among that crew. And I think that's what caused your break. What caused your break was the fact that you had expected a certain thing because of America. You had expected to be treated a certain way and allowed to be a certain way because of how America is and what America allows you to do because of how you present, right? We all know that this thing that was invented called race or and color and complexion, the colorism, we all know that race ain't the same for everybody, don't we? We're not going to talk about that. You're not going to tell me, Meghan Markle, that everybody is just black. I don't get treated the same way as a darker skinned black woman. And oftentimes a darker skinned black woman don't get treated the same as a darker skinned black man. We all experience this thing very differently. So y'all can miss me with this whole, oh, Meghan's just the same as everybody else. No, she effectively dodged a lot of race while she was here in America. Oh, but the mental hardship you get when you run up against that brick wall that is the royalty that will tell you what they really think about you. But y'all thought this was going to be one thing. Y'all was just running around celebrating it. We're going to go through some of the tweets. All the black girl magic and stuff that was going on. We're going to go through some of that. You really thought we have arrived. We in here now. I'm going to find me a prince too. The meaning of Meghan. The meaning of Meghan. This is a dumb article. Black and royal no longer an oxymoron in Britain. What does it matter? Like, let me tell y'all something. If the diaspora can't come together on nothing else, the diaspora can come together on the validation and the valuation of what it means to be accepted into whiteness. Oh, you had all kinds of black Americans, you had ADOS, you had everybody in every different country, all kind of flags in the Twitter talking about how wonderful this was. If you want to talk about Pan-Africanism, talk to me about how we come together over the most stupidest of things. This is Pan-Africanism, to come on here and talk about how wonderful it is to get accepted by the white royals. Ain't it wonderful? They finally let us in. Ain't that something? Ain't y'all happy and proud that the white folk finally opened the door? To who? And did they really? And why? You always know Meghan wasn't going to make this, and she shouldn't have did this in the first place. She should have rejected this. Y'all keep telling me all the time we come from well, I don't say this junk because I don't value monarchies. Right? Because anytime you have kings and queens, you got peasants. I'm more concerned about the peasants who are ruled over by the kings and queens. But y'all all tell me we come from kings. Until this, if you come from kings, why you ain't more worried about recreating this in terms of Mansa Musa than you are about these white Brits? If you really think you come from kings and queens and that's what your thing is, then recreate that. Why do you need to be married off into this thing that ain't got nothing to do with us? For those of you all who are really into this sort of monarchy, king and queen stuff and all of this kind of stuff, why don't y'all value this and try to recreate this somewhere? No, we're gonna watch this other stuff all day. Right? We're gonna do this up. We're not gonna do that. So we had to look at a lot of this kind of stuff. We had a lot of bad royal wedding takes. This is the royal wedding. This is the royal wedding like you've never seen before. Right? Don't put no more weight. Let me bring it up a little bit bigger so you can see the foolishness. I just want to remind everybody about how many people tweeted stupid stuff. These are your blue checks for the most part. These are your blue checks. I bet not see any more raisins in me or my girl's potato salad. Y'all so goofy. Who raised y'all goofy people? We all knew Harry was gonna marry a black girl. Just so, like, this is the smallest, most insignificant thing in our lives. I don't care where you are as a African in Africa. I don't care whether you in Kenya, whether you in South Africa. I don't care whether you in the Congo. This is stupid. It always was stupid, and we always knew how this was going to end. Here we go again. Carry out to us 0 for 100 these days. Between Black Panther, Beychella, Kendrick Lamar's Pulitzer, and now Royal Wedding 2018 has been the blackest year on record. When you marry into whiteness, that's the blackest thing, ain't it? Meghan Markle is American, divorced, and actress of mixed race. I believe Prince Harry just made the British royal family relevant again. Many congrats. Blah, 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 blah. It was just a bunch of stupidity. Wait till the aunties show up and they're going to do the electric slide with Meghan and Harry. Just watch them. They're going to slide to the left. Jump up 2 times. Boop. Turn to the right. What's wrong with y'all? How in the world? How in the world? I'm just trying to figure this out. How in the world did y'all ever celebrate this? Especially when we know what we know about the royal family. So let's go to what we know really quick. Why everybody was celebrating being married into. Oh my God, this biracial woman who appears to have been running from blackness, married into this family. She is now our sister girl and we claim her. But wait a minute. Throne of blood, let's see. It's time for the British royal family to make amends for centuries of profiting from slavery. How did that happen? Let's take a look at it right quickly, shall we not? The slave trading initiatives endorsed by the English monarchy began with Queen Elizabeth I's enthusiastic support of John Hawkins' slaving expeditions in the 1560s. In 3 separate voyages backed by government officials, London merchants and the Queen Hawkins raided African settlements on the West African coast and seized hundreds of enslaved captives from Portuguese ships. In defiance of Portugal's dominance over the European slave trade in Africans, Hawkins sold his cargo of African captives in the Spanish Caribbean. After his profitable second voyage, the Queen honored Hawkins with a coat of arms and crest featuring a nude African bound with a rope. These people are awful. Let me go on. During the reign of King Charles II from 1660 to 1685, the crown and members of the royal family invested heavily in the African slave trade. Seeking to bolster the wealth and power of the restored monarchy and to supplant the Dutch in the Atlantic slave trading system, Charles granted a charter to the Company of Royal Adventurers into Africa, a private joint stock company, less than 6 months after ascending the throne. The charter gave the Royal Adventurers a thousand year monopoly over slave trade, land, and adjacent islands along the west coast of Africa, stretching from what was then known as Cape Blanco in the north to the Cape of Good Hope in the south. The king lent the company a number of royal ships, including a vessel called the Blackamoor, and reserved for himself the right to 2/3 of the value of any gold mines discovered. Well, ain't that nice? When you talk about how these people got their wealth, I just want you to think back about all this stuff. When you talk about how they got all this, just don't forget. Controlling English trade with West Africa in gold, hides, ivory, redwood, and ultimately slaves offered the prospect of a revenue stream that would enable the crown to gain financial independence from Parliament. From its founding, the Royal Adventurers benefited from royal connections and the crown's political and financial backing. More than half of the original beneficiaries of the first charter were peers or members of the royal family, including the king himself. The company's intimacy with the royal family proved particularly attractive to investors seeking to profit from a trading monopoly with West Africa and the sale and exploitation of African men, women, and children. In 1663, the Royal Adventurers received a new charter explicitly granting the company an exclusive right among English traders to purchase enslaved captives on the West African coast and transport them to the English colonies in the Americas, sponsored by the King's inner circle and politicians and courtiers expecting to use the African trade for personal profit. The fledgling company set out to deliver thousands of African captives to the English Caribbean. Upon disembarking, Africans who survived the horrors of the Middle Passage were sold to English buyers or to foreign traders looking to acquire slaves for transshipment to Spanish America. By March 1664, the company had delivered more than 3,000 enslaved men, women, and children to Barbados and 780 African captives to Jamaica. During the peak of the Atlantic slave trade between 1690 and 1807, European enslavers carried approximately 6 million enslaved Africans to the Americas. Almost half of these arrived in British or Anglo-American ships. Protected by the Crown and Parliament, the slave trade became one of Britain's most profitable industries. The production of popular labor-intensive agricultural products such as sugar, tobacco, cotton, and coffee in the Atlantic colonies hinged on the regular supply of African captives. The vast majority of enslaved African men, women, and children were destined for the sugar fields of Brazil and the Caribbean islands. So, here's the thing. I'm not a Pan-Africanist, but I don't agree with slavery anywhere. And you should not. I think being oppressed in this country means that we should be able to say, hey, all of this stuff that happened is awful. And it also benefited them. Even the entire slave trade everywhere benefited them. That's what you saw too. But I don't care which slaves went where. I'm not going to be a part of some type of oppressive force that was part of the slave trade that benefited from the slave trade across countries. Who wants to marry into that? Who wants to marry? Listen, you not only married, and I think Oprah even hit on this. You not only marry somebody's family when you get married. You, in this case, she's marrying an institution that is tied to slavery. Why would you want to do that? In what world do you want to tie yourself to a racist white institution and marry into it? And in what world are you surprised when racists be racist? So how does this, let's just play it all the way through, Meghan Markle. I want to know how this surprised you. UK royal apologizes for wearing a racist brooch to palace lunch with Markle. Yeah, she wore what would be called a jigaboo button or whatever. I'm going to show you who you are. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care what American white people told you that you are. I don't care what you got to kind of pass as in America. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to wear this jigaboo thing. And I'm going to remind you of who you are. And I'm going to remind you of who you aren't. Right? That's what she did. I'm going to wear this little darky thing. Remind you of your lineage. Right? I'm going to do this to you. Let me pull this little thing up close. She got on. This old ragged lady got on herself. What is this? You see that thing? You see what she got on? She wore that to the meeting with Meghan Markle. Yes. She showed you. She wore it right in your face. Ooh, something. And let me just say what CNN said about it. Blackamoor, a decorative style that depicts African people as exoticized figures, is widely considered offensive. Media reports showing Princess, is her name Michelle or Michael? I don't know. I don't follow these people. Wearing the brooch prompted Twitter users to label her at worst overtly racist and at best out of touch. In a 2015 article For in New York University, on Blackamoor art, writer Annette Rottenbach described the Italian decorative style as being tied with these ideas of racial conquest. Racial conquest, you say. The motif emerged as an artistic response to the European encounter with the Moors, dark-skinned Muslims from North Africa and the Middle East who came to occupy various parts of Europe during the Middle Ages, she wrote. Commonly fixed in positions of servitude as footmen or waiters, for example, the figures personify fantasies of racial conquest. Yeah, she was letting you know you was the maid. You the help. You thought she wasn't? You thought that wasn't gonna happen? You didn't think they was gonna do that? Harry ain't tell you that. Oh, well, see. You gotta have good communication in a relationship, because he should have told you about that. He didn't tell you who these people are? Right? They got people to put you in your place. Queen will be nice to you all day. Hey, May, how you doing? You won't ever be able to say the queen did nothing to you, probably, but they got people to show up. You show her this child who she is. She over here talking way too much. Didn't Oprah say that she told her they want me to bring it down by 50%? Yeah, she talking too much. Knock her down a peg. Yeah, you having all kind of mental problems. I sympathize. Don't necessarily empathize. I don't know what you expect. I just don't. I don't understand what the expectation was. I don't know. I know you sitting down with Oprah. That's wonderful. Oprah got Hustle TV in. I just don't understand what the expectation was. I don't understand what people thought or why everybody won't. I don't care where you're from. I don't understand why people thought that, like, it was okay to get validated by the white gays or the white monarchy, or oh my God, they're letting me in. Oh, they said my baby was gonna be dark, and they said, how dark is the baby gonna be? Well, first of all, how dark could a baby be with Meghan Markle and Prince, what's his name? As you know that if they said that, they just said that to needle you. They just said that to be racist. That's what racists do. And I don't know why it doesn't even occur to nobody why they were sister girl and Meghan Markle. All of y'all who was sister girl and Meghan Markle, a lot of y'all are way darker skinned or light skinned and darker than her. That people would have never, that was the most colorist thing you could have did. You want to talk about colorism? Do you really think a sister, light skin, brown skin, dark skin, would have been, they would have let, what's his name, Prince Harry, they would have let him marry her? So if they wouldn't let him marry somebody darker, why are y'all celebrating? You celebrate colorism by doing that. What are y'all doing? It's like we don't have pride, and we don't know the stuff that we should be focusing on versus what we don't. Yeah, her mother is brown. She ain't. We talking about Meghan here. Do you think it's any coincidence that the first time this happens, it's a biracial person who's really light skinned, right? Do you think that? And why is everybody why is everybody co-signing this? That they allowed this, and they still had a problem. And even when she got there, they still had a problem. They said, nah, still, no. Wherever you from, I don't know. You black either way. And God, what if you are a descendant of a slave? What do you think the enslaver thinks about the slave? I don't know her mother's background, but what do you think if that's what it is? What do you think these people actually think about us? And you don't think you're going to have a problem if you marry into that? Is that what you think? It's interesting. But we had a lot of celebration, boy. We had a lot of celebration. People were ready to go find their own prince. There is still hope for us black girls. Jelena Maxwell said, I guess I should have been looking in London for a bae. All kinds of dumb stuff. So I've seen a black president of the United States, and now I see a black woman joining the British royal family. What a time to be alive. Well, you saw a president who wasn't nothing, and you saw Meghan Markle get abused and mollywopped by them white people. They sent her all the way back to America. Take this, listen. And you don't have to send her by telling her to leave. You make her so unhappy. Listen, these people didn't want Diana. Diana had a nice background that they could, and she was attractive, and they didn't want her. Listen, you want too much freedom and stuff. You can get it too. You think they was gonna take you? Okay. Hey. I just can't. I don't understand it. I just can't understand it. Ain't nothing I can do about it, but I can't understand why. Didn't we say this was gonna happen? Didn't we say this is stupid? It don't make no sense. It's going to end badly. Now, end badly can mean a lot of things. And why do we feel sorry for her right now? You still a millionaire. Oh, my God. He's only worth a few million now because he only has Diana's inheritance. I'm sorry, what? What's her name? Kate made me cry at the wedding. I wish she would make me cry. How this little lady gonna make me cry? I don't value if you don't value what somebody say, how they gonna make you cry? You don't know that lady. Good night. What kind of raising happened with you? And I don't even think he gonna be, you better do the best you can with your marriage. Because let me tell you something. He ain't fit to live how he about to live. But a lot of people giving old Harry credit. Now, you know, Jelani Cobb talked trash about ADOS. He talked about old ADOS. They just think we supposed to be on different plantations. They think my change better than your change. Just the most moronic kind of interpretation of what ADOS is. But he goes on here, you know what? Harry gets my respect too, for real. This is just, the blue checks are just a shame. These sassy blue checks pay attention to all the wrong stuff. Why? Because you're too invested in the white gays. Be invested in yourself, your people. You're too invested. You can trash us, but you can give Harry props. Get a grip. Like, understand that this is what these people wanted to marry into. Like, how do you want to be a part of that? I'm just asking. How do you want to be a part of this? Who wants to be a part of this? And why don't y'all let that man fall? What's wrong with y'all carrying him? What year is this? You don't carry nobody up on you. What year is this? So it's a lot. Listen. All black people everywhere, to the extent that, this thing is, everybody failed. And some of y'all failed because y'all still answer to the queen or something. I saw something about Barbados, and they still had a queen and like whatever. If y'all don't stop, if everybody don't take ownership of themselves and their sovereignty and stop with this foolishness, these people don't matter. They shouldn't matter to you at all. We got so much to pay attention to. We got so much to do. And we're paying attention to this foolishness and worrying about how Meghan is doing. Oh, yeah, the wedding, no. See, this is what we have to understand, too. Performing blackness at this wedding. And that's what the royal family did. I don't even like to call them the royal family. I don't care. Because I don't care about these people. This kind of performing of blackness. Oh, they had the choir. Oh, they had the black pastor. This is what countries do though. Even nations do this. Kind of perform it. We're gonna perform it. That way we ain't gotta do nothing. We're just gonna perform it, and we're gonna make the Negroes happy. They're gonna feel represented. They don't really think a lot about wealth and those kinds of things. They just need to see their faces in high places. That's all Negroes need to get happy. And they like to dance and jump around. So let's just put their faces in places and make them happy. And we're gonna have a banjo, harmonica, but we don't really care. But they care. They don't care about like what they can build for themselves or the wealth that has been stripped from them. Or they don't really care about, reparations. They don't really care about what we've stolen. They just want to be included. They don't care about what we took from them. They just want to be included. And we proved them right. I didn't. A lot of y'all didn't. But black people, for lack of a better word, proved them right. At the end of the day, y'all showed up and felt so wonderful that Meghan was included and the royal family accepted her. And oh my God, did y'all see Oprah was there and Serena was there and so Idris Elba was there? Can you believe it? I feel so included and seen. I feel seen. Why do you need to be seen by these people? And why can't you understand that this is kind of just a performative thing? It's not a real thing. It doesn't have real meaning for you in your life. These people don't care about you. And the same way they threw old Meghan away, they'll throw you and me away the same. That's the history. That's the history of them. You can't be just excited because certain people show up to a wedding and you think, oh my goodness, that's just so wonderful. I feel so included. I just feel, the blue checks, some people I respect. I don't mean no harm, but like even, okay, having slept on it, it's absolutely insane and cartoonishly racist that Meghan's son would be the only child not offered the title of prince and royal protection. Yes, because racism. How you expect the slaver to elevate this, you have to make, what are y'all doing? What did you expect? And why can't we just reject this whole thing, this whole arrangement, instead of being shocked when racist institutions are racist? I don't think it makes absolutely any sense to me. Now, as we y'all even brought Hillary Clinton into it, but as we go towards the end, I just want to point out something that we all should be and should have been paying attention to. This story kind of, I tweeted it, but it didn't even make the rounds as much as it should have. Especially it got buried by some dumb stuff about Meghan Markle and her little royal adventure / fiasco. A judge ruled photos of enslaved individuals belong to Harvard, not their direct descendant. This is something, if you're interested in wealth and reparations in America, you should be paying close attention to. See, attention attention, family, is a very interesting thing. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And we flow our energy to the dumbest celebrity gossip and stuff that don't matter. Listen, I want you to do an experiment. Before you get invested in something, I want you to ask yourself, how does this thing I'm invested in or upset about impact my material life? By your material life, your wealth, your food, your clothes, your environment. If it does not impact those things, I dare say it's not important. This is important. Let me tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Hold on one second. Tamara Lanier, 58, took Harvard to court in March 2019 for wrongful seizure, possession, and expropriation of images, arguing her great-great-great-grandfather, Renty, and his daughter Delia remain enslaved by the university. Given what Harvard did to us, I believe it. In the sense that they are making money. Well, let me just let the article tell you. Hold on a second. But she's saying that they're making money, and they are, like, off of these images that are her family. So here's what the justice said. Fully acknowledging the continuing impact of slavery has had in the United States, the law as it currently stands does not confer a property interest to the subject of a photograph, regardless of how objectionable the photograph origins may be. Justice Camilla Saruf wrote in an order dismissing the case. It is basic common property law that a photograph's subject has no interest in a negative, nor any photographs printed from the negative. Saruf wrote in the 15-page ruling, adding that the court is constrained by the current legal principles, and only the state legislature or appellate courts can provide redress she now seeks, right? Then let's go back and talk about this for just 1 second. Here's the problem with that. That only works in a world, the current law only works in a world where everybody's free. So if you're free, you give permission to somebody to take your picture. You can say, in order for you to take the picture, I want the picture, or I want to pay you for the picture, or take 2 pictures. When you're free, you're able to engage in this sort of kind of commerce that the judge is talking about. That doesn't apply to people who were not respected under the law in any way. So the court has to go back and reset that and make it to where the descendants of those people can have access to what they did and what they invented. Because we know a lot of the stuff that slaves and their descendants invented that was stolen from them, from intellectual property to actual physical things like photographs. Right? You need a way, though, you need a hook to be able to go back and get the stuff that was actually stolen. What this ruling does is take away the hook and say, well, the current law doesn't, the law as it is now doesn't really go for that. You know, the person has who has no right to the property of the negative. Well, the thing is, we had no right to anything. See, it says, let's go back to this one more time. Fully acknowledging the continuing impact of slavery has had in the United States, the law as it currently stands does not confer a property interest to the subject of a photograph, regardless of how objectionable the photograph origins may be. Well, you could extend that, it seems to me, to all property. Regardless of how objectionable it was that this person had X, Y, and Z from the slave can't have it. That's not how property rights work. That's a problem. Because you can't extend this idea of what property is to a person who was actually property. That person was property. You have to have a law that goes back and says, like, that kind of retroactively makes that person a person and says that person was entitled to what they were supposed to get as a full human, in terms of what you want, in terms of the negotiation, in terms of what you can demand and what you can get and what you can pay for. And the court should have said, listen, this set a new precedent based on something that Harvard, this rich white institution, is not entitled to the pictures of this person who was a slave. The descendants are entitled to that. Let them take it to court, right? Let Harvard appeal. And Harvard is proving itself quite dastardly. And the lengths that it will go to be able to use images of slavery and slaves, because this image has been used a lot. And to strip that away of the descendants of slavery. That law, and I'm not an attorney, but we should be having this legal conversation about property and how we're even having a conversation. How does a law, you need a whole new law. Because you can't have a conversation about what property people have access to when they weren't even people themselves. You see, regardless, that's what this comes down to. What that verdict said is, listen, These people were plundered and they're going to stay plundered. This group was stolen from, and slavery is bad, but it's going to stay because it has to stay, because the hierarchy has to be the way it is. So what was plundered will remain plundered. That's what this says. That's the verdict. And everybody should be having a conversation about how we undo that. About how we confer property rights to people who were property at the time, and therefore confer inheritance rights to their descendants. That's the conversation we should be having, and that's the space right now where we should be trying to find solutions. Instead, what we're doing is talking about a woman and her husband who are irrelevant to the material conditions of our life and our uplift. And if we don't at some point start learning how to pay attention to what's important, rather than pay attention to what the media and everybody else wants us to pay attention to, if we don't take control of our own attention, we're in trouble. If we don't take control of what we decide we're going to respond to, or what we're going to focus on, or what we're going to work on, or what we're going to get frenzied over, we're in trouble. Oprah ain't covered this lawsuit, but she want to cover that dumb stuff. She got like $7 million for it though, didn't she? And the thing is, nobody, see, the thing is, understand this. And I put this in a tweet. The Holocaust survivors and their heirs are still getting all their stuff back. Now, at that time, the Germans the Nazis did not consider Jewish people human. They called them all kinds of stuff and gassed them and murdered them. Genocide. Did not consider them human. But they still going around getting their stuff back. They getting paintings and money and everything. But for us, property rights do not extend. Nobody says like, you didn't have a right to that photo of yourself, or as a person who was in the Holocaust or whatever. Nobody says this painting that we found that the Nazis stole from you is not your painting anymore. What they say is that this was stolen. What they say is that the Nazis were thieves. The same way Harvard is a thief. The same way white America as a whole, people of color America, people who are opposing reparation are thieves. America has plundered this group in the same way. And we have to come to terms with that. This double standard. But they will listen. Oprah, I don't know what kind of thing Oprah got going on, but this is ridiculous. And she's a ridiculous person for this. This is ridiculous. We are focused on bread and peanuts and circus. And we are not focused on the stuff that matters to us. Before you do something about what matters, you have to focus on it. The only way you find a solution or a strategy for activism and organizing and legal lawsuits or whatever, the only way you do that is focusing on what matters. This stuff is trash. It's stupid. It's tabloid nonsense. It's somebody who walked into a fire and then came out screaming about how come you didn't get him no ointment. Heal thyself, but leave me alone. Those of us who didn't marry a prince with millions of dollars or whatever, we got business to do and we don't care. I'm never going to care about that. I'm never going to care about Meghan. I'm never going to care about what she went through. I'm never going to care about that. And I shouldn't care about that. I got real stuff, real issues to focus on. So fam, I'm going to go to the phones. I want to see what y'all have to say about it. About everything from Meghan Markle and this stupid stuff to the stolen property of ADOS and how Oprah uses her position to make sure that like we don't focus on the stuff we need to focus on. Why y'all bring that dumb stuff out today? The other day, right after the ruling from Harvard. What do you do that if you're not just trying to mask theft of ADOS? Are you not a tool of social engineering if you do that? So give me as usual, family, give me about 3 minutes to set up the phones. I will be back and we will have the conversation. right, fam, we are back. I have a lot of calls, so I'm going to try to get to them, as many as I can. So I came back a little bit faster than usual. I am going to try to be concise, fam, because I want to give as many people as I can an opportunity to have a conversation. So please try to, don't rush, but please try to get your thought in, you know, expeditiously, for lack of a better term. Let's see, what is this? So I'm going to my first call. Let me go to 720. 720. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Yvette, is that you?
Yeah.
Yvette, my sister from another mister. Listen, calling from Aurora, Colorado. We watched it yesterday, last night we watched it. And I have to say a few things about what you just said.
Okay.
I'm shocked that it lasted this long.
Oh.
I really am. But you know, I'm going to tell you, I don't understand why Meghan would allow white folks to make her feel so suicidal. She said yes, so that was a trigger right there. Now, I don't understand, or I would like to know who made that comment about little Archie and his skin color. Because you know as well as I know and everybody else, 2 light-skinned folks can make a dark-skinned baby. And if little Archie comes out with a little afro, and his little sister comes out with a little afro.
But fam, let me ask you this though, fam. How likely is that though? Right? You know, it's possible. We've seen it before. I'm lighter than both my parents, so I'm not saying it. I'm certainly not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that how likely is it?
Yeah, but you know what, Yvette? You've seen light-skinned folks having brown babies too.
Yeah,
and Meghan's
absolutely.
mom is brown-skinned sister girl.
Yeah, but she's a white man though.
I don't think the Queen would want anybody looking like Meghan's mother's color. And another thing that I really don't like, and I have a friend, her name is Iris, and she lives over there in England. I said, I would not be the one to be bowing down to any queen. And she would just love to see black folks bowing down to her.
What I mean, that's another thing. Just the optics, just the optics of one of a black person bowing down to this white lady. I don't care what they do; they can do whatever they want.
But remember when what's her name, Michelle Obama went over there and everybody had a fit because she didn't bow, she didn't do that curtsy. She hugged her.
Yeah. You
I remember that?
Yeah. Ain't nobody bowing.
And they said, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that to the Queen." I'm like, no, I don't play that. But you know what I don't understand either is Meghan Markle knew good and well what she was getting into when she got in there, and then they asked her for her ID, her passport, and she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're not gonna be running off. You're not going nowhere. You're not. Where you think you're going to? No, this is an institution, and we control your life. Harry didn't tell you that.
Right, but you know, and I don't care too much for Oprah. I really don't. I'm just waiting for her to do that Harry Weinstein talk. Because it seems like they can go around this whole circle with everybody else, but can't talk to Harry Weinstein.
Well, you done said a word. I don't know.
Well, you have a good night, okay?
All right.
I love your show.
I appreciate it. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. No, only thing I'm saying is just like, is the likelihood. Like, if somebody says, like, well, we don't want a brown baby to, like, Meghan Markle, who's having a baby with this redheaded white man. I'm not saying that it's impossible. And I'm not saying that for the baby to come out brown. Anything's possible. Genetics is a soup we ain't quite even figured out. But, and I know that Meghan Markle's mother is brown, but her daddy's also white. Like, so the likelihood of that is just unlikely. It's not impossible, unlikely. And so if somebody said that, they just said that to get under your skin. They just said that to kind of needle you because they can. It's all weird. Who would marry into some of that weirdness? I'm going to 786. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
That Demetrius call from Lake Mary, Florida.
Hey, Demetri, what's going on?
No, I just want to keep it short. I just love what you're talking about tonight, and I love the way you're dissecting this whole Meghan Markle situation and the kind of analysis that you're giving on it. So that's all I want to say. So just thank you for the insight.
That's
all I have.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. I'm going to my next call. I am going to I am going to 323. 323. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm Joseph calling from Los Angeles.
What's going on, Joseph?
I just want to say a couple things here on this subject.
Sure.
I think what we're really talking about is what you alluded to earlier, Yvette, with the Harvard situation. We're talking about transactions here, okay, in my view. And we're talking about who is worthy to enter into a transaction and who is not.
Talk on it.
See,
Talk about
America's a place of transactions. See, meaning one somebody is getting something and another somebody is getting something. It's about an exchange. But when it comes to us, it's never, the only exchange we get is coal in our stocking. See, whenever we're not worthy of a transaction, we're talking about intellectual property here. And Harvard is trying to take a stand to say that we don't respect international, we don't respect international property.
Yep.
You know, this is ridiculous. And see, to me, that's the micro, if you will, my sister. The macro is Meghan and this show that and all this entertainment. But what's underneath the entertainment? See, this is what, to me, where the truth lies and where we have to recalibrate what's going on and look at it from a very, very different perspective. What is going on behind the scene? See, we being taught in this culture that everything that we see is real and legitimate. Okay, I'm talking on this phone. The phone is not the thing that's in my hand, the thing that I can see. The phone is what's behind what I can't see. We don't talk about what we can't see. We always talk about the appearance of things because that's where a lie lies. In the appearance of things. See, it appeared like Meghan is going through racism and white supremacy and yada yada yada. Well, that's on the appearance of it. The real truth is this is about power. That's what's really going on. And it started with that boy's mama saying, I'm not going with y'all power. I'm not acceding to y'all power. I'm not allowing y'all to put me in jail. She lost her life for doing that. See, and that's what a lot of these brothers and sisters that we talk about who come out like at the HR 40 with Herschel Walker and Larry Elder in this clown show. Okay, what that is hey everybody, look at the appearance. Look at what's going on. Look, he looks black. See, he looks black. See, look, that looks like black over there to me. How about that over there? When that ain't black at all. See, this aggregating. To me, this is the most important thing for us. To disaggregate ourselves from these other black people. These other people that look like us, but aren't us. See, this is what we need to do. This is the most important thing to me on our agenda. Because if we don't get any clarity about what's really going on behind the desktop, we ain't gonna never deal with this. See, we are never going to be clear of this. See, white people, white America, they're on the hook for this as well. Okay, why don't we hear about the poor white folks in West Virginia and Kentucky and these other places? Why we don't hear about them that often except to make fun of and to laugh at? Okay, when all we see the images of this Oprah thing, this Meghan Markle thing, we see the images of the folks with memes. We see the narrative that they're trying to sell us. that what it looks like it is. If it looks like it, it cracks like it, all of those stupid nonsense like that. Life isn't that. Life is complicated. It's not simple. You can't look at a person and just say, by looking at them, well, I know I can read them. I can tell what they're all about. And if they do one or two things, I can really tell what they're all about. Nonsense. See, yes, one of them is trivial and silly. And yes, the Morgan Mecco and all that, and Oprah with her wagon, her Barnum and Bailey circus that she's the circus master of. We know what to expect from her. She's not something that we now don't know. We know what Oprah was bringing when she comes into the room. We know. We getting ready to get entertained. Getting ready to be some
Barnum and Bailey. Step right up.
We know this. But what we don't know is that we are still fighting for stuff like what the 14th Amendment is about, citizenship. That we are still fighting for citizenship. That this question is still not answered. It's appalling. Because let me finish with this, Yvette.
Okay.
Before, I was one of them Pan-African dudes too for a while. I got to tell you. Until I got my behind on a plane and went to Africa. And every place that I went to over there on the continent of Africa, I didn't say country, the continent of Africa, every country that I went to, every time I opened my mouth, they said, American, 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 American. Now, one person called me an African. And I felt like a damn fool. I felt like a damn fool. To be in my head rolling around with that nonsense and not go over to the motherland and people say, well, I don't see no African, I see an American. It made me look really closely within, and so I came back here to this country and discovered you in Tone. And y'all gave me language that I ain't gonna never let go of until I leave this planet.
Absolutely.
I am ADOS.
Absolutely.
I am an American descendant of slavery. That's what I am. I am not African.
And ain't nothing wrong with that. African. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Africans don't even call themselves African. They call themselves Kenyan or Nigerian or they don't. Nobody call themselves. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. People got to stop saying that. Everybody claims their culture, claims their lineage, claims their heritage. It don't mean no hate for nobody else. It's just who you are. And they right. I mean, I've known some people to get upset when they go to different African countries and somebody says American. What you mad for? That's who you are. You upset because somebody called you who you are? It's not offensive. Like when I went, they called me, they said, hey, Yankee. Yankee is not an offensive term. Why would you get mad at Yankee? Yankee means American. That's interchangeable for American. That's what you are, though. Like, so, I appreciate it, man.
We get mad, Yvette, because we don't know. We don't know. See, that's why what you and Tone have done is so important. We don't know. We've been everything.
Yeah.
Okay? I've been everything since I've been here. Colored and black and this and that Negro and this. We've been everything. We don't know.
That's true, fam.
See, that's why we would get upset. When I was over in Africa, I learned all these African tribes and what tribalism is really about. We don't know this stuff. We don't know. We look at every she's from Nigeria, she's from Ghana, she's from this, she's from Burkina Faso. Okay, they're all together. No, that's not the truth. That's what's behind what we don't see. And in order to be able to see it, you have to be able to have a heart that's open, and you have to be wanting to see it. And many of us don't want to see it.
Well, that's
we want to continue this nonsense.
That's a perfect place to end it, fam. But I thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Antonio, and thank you, Yvette, so much for what you guys are doing. And I rock ADOS today, tomorrow, and forever.
All day long.
Thank you.
Ain't nobody gonna say. Appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you for calling in. I appreciate you. Thank you, fam. It took a turn, that call, but yeah, I mean, it's just like people. I never understand people get upset for being called Yankee or whatever. That's what I got called. Why are you upset about that? Like Yankee, we got a baseball team, the New York Yankees. Why are you upset about that? I know I ain't know you. Yes, you are, and they know it just like I know it, and just like you know it. You're American. And the fact that we're still able to be here and be breathing is because of a glorious freedom struggle that our people fought. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But let me go to the next call. I'm going to 415. I got two 415. So 4159. 4159. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Denise in San Francisco.
What's going on, San Fran?
Can you hear?
San Fran
same
heavy
thing.
tonight.
But let me say this. I know that old crazy wedding took place at a time period where Africa and the Commonwealth was trying to break off from England. The Commonwealth is mostly of Africans and people of color. Okay? Everybody's scrambling to get a piece of Africa, China, the rest of the European powers, even this country trying to get a hold of Africa, okay, because of the resources.
Yeah, robbing it, yeah.
Now, that royal family just putting on a front like they biracial and tolerant and all that. And when she comes along, they got confused. The media was running off any other potential wife for Harry. Them other white women that he should fool with, they say, no, not me. This ain't me. Okay, so that's this biracial actress comes along, look like she could act and put up with a lot of drama and put on a front and all that. So the royal family said, well, maybe we can get some use from her after all. She can help us hang on to Africa and this and that and the other.
Oh,
well,
you got a different theory.
I said, oh, that plan's gonna blow up, and the show did.
You got a different theory. Now, wait a minute. Your theory is that they were trying to use Meghan to hang on to their grip or whatever on the continent and stuff like that.
Well, see, they got confused. You know, around that time she was getting married, Africa and the Commonwealth was losing interest in England. When they ran up to Canada, I said, now Canada is tired of them. Canada ain't gonna want to put no bill for no security for them.
Canada is
tired
of them.
Okay. And anyway, a lot of people trying to move on the British hold on Africa. So I guess they said, look, the media ran off his other potential girlfriends and wives. So maybe we can get some use out of her after all. Maybe she can act and hold up under pressure and all that. But, you know, she's sitting up there talking that women's movement, liberated talk, when they wanted her to, back off and take orders, fall in line. And she wasn't going to do that, as I said myself. So they realized they ain't going to get the proper use that they planned out of her. It's going to blow up. And I was right.
Yeah, you were right. You were right. It blew up. It's still blowing up. It's good for Oprah and good for ratings, but it's just stupid. But I want to thank you for calling in, fam. I appreciate you. You have a good one.
Bye-bye.
No problem. Woo, there's a lot going on. Going to 310-310. What's going on? Hold on. Oh, I didn't come to it. There you go, 310.
What up, Vic?
What's up, Tom?
Can you pull up a picture of Prince Harry and Meghan?
Yep.
I think the last caller was on to something. That's what I thought for a while, too. I think that part of what we saw was a reaction to a movement overall. And then you kind of seen even when you saw what you saw with George Floyd, which came after their wedding, of course. It was like, we think that it was just like happenstance, the way that, government like kind of took down statues and everything. But they've been knowing for a long time that things have shifted in terms of like the political view on racism, the way that the world sees things. And I think that they were, and I think we talked about this at the time. They were actually using her as cover, and I believe she knew she was signing up to that deal and had significantly misrepresented everything. But let me say this. Meghan didn't marry Prince Harry. She married the royal family. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in an abstract way. Like, the conversation goes, when you marry someone, you marry their family. No, this man isn't really an individual in the same way we are.
Nope.
I don't think that Black America on the internet has really digested this appropriately. You start off with the reality that that his family is invested in the institution of slavery. When we go back, 70% of the cotton that Britain used was from our labor here in America. So their slaves were not in Britain, they were here in America. And she was marrying into that family. I don't even think Black people even knew that here in America. They just got up at 6 a.m. and watched that. But going to the next step, they view him through a lens of individuality that they experience here, or they know a white person that experienced it. So they think of it like you're marrying into a family, and then he's an individual separate and apart from that. When in actuality, she just married the family, period. She laid with the family. She slept with the family. She put on the tiara from the family. See, you can't treat this like a scenario where they got married here and decided to separate from the family. You can't treat this like a scenario where she didn't know he was part of the family and fell in love with him, and then now finds out later that he's actually a friend.
Surprised, yeah.
But they've done all that. No different than they treat Serena Williams' marriage, very different than they treat any black man that's married to a white woman. Ain't Kamala Harris. This is the narrative of our nation, is this lie. This is the narrative of our moment. This lie around pay, this lie around prison and industrial complex, this lie around gender and race rather than just race. And I think one of the things that I see is we across the internet are looking at this marriage through our typical lens of race in America rather than through the lens of the monarchy and the prince and the slave trading that gives it all the context to actually absolutely look at it like appropriately. You got Oprah at the wedding. Then she do the interview, whether that's appropriate or not, nobody even discusses. But beyond that, you playing both sides of the fence, Oprah. So if it go right, you gonna say, I always knew it would go right, that's why I went to the wedding. But then when it go wrong, you say, I always knew it went wrong, I whispered something in her ear after the wedding. We don't need fair weather people trying to play this role. I don't believe, there's snippets coming out. Hopefully she has more race than what I saw in the snippets, because I can't watch this whole thing. But the 1,200-year question is indicative of the rest of the interview. What I feel is she didn't really go deep enough. She needed to ask that young woman, did you understand you were marrying the family that traded possibly your family into slavery if she's Adolf? That just has to be asked.
Or even if she's not Adolf, even if her mother's Jamaican, like a lot of those slaves went to the Caribbean. Still, do you understand? Even if she's Caribbean, do you understand that this family did that?
Well, when even in the article you said earlier, yeah, what they're talking about, because if you read articles about that, the transport lane, that slave ships stopped in Jamaica sometimes and also Barbados, and then they would come here. So
but some of them
they're
stayed
leaving
there.
us out because. Go ahead.
No, I said some of them stayed there though. But yeah, go ahead. I'm just saying that they were complicit in a global slave trade. Now, yeah, some of them like stopped there and came here, but they were complicit even in selling to a bunch of places. So like, where you come from?
Well, I'm actually tying in that our slaves came from this family. Like our slaves in large bulk. Not saying we don't have some from some other groups coming through what we saw in the last book we've seen, but our slaves, our English, came from the English trade. And I just think that people get lost on that and allow this family to be off the hook and how deeply it's not like normal white families where you don't know if they were slave traders, maybe they were, maybe they weren't, maybe they were immigrated after. No, this is a direct institution that traded your family into slavery, and we never dealt with that when this wedding happened. News One did an article, and they said they're not covering this because they colonized the world. And nobody really dealt with that, and they just celebrated it and did gas and showed up and everything else. We should have boycotted this wedding, to me. And everybody has their own feelings on that. Now, in addition, I think there was a lot of gossip, like you talked about in the last 48 hours. Oprah should have been covering what happened with Harvard. She's covering this wedding, right? We can't talk about Harvard because of this wedding. When we look at what happened with Harvard, I think that what you pointed out shows the gravity of that decision and what they think of us in this moment, and why Adolf is so imperative or important, let me say. Because me and you talked about this. I believe Adolf sets the dish for her taste to sit on. Now, I'm not saying that she should have to have a dish, meaning the case over the photograph. But the reality is that I don't know what everybody's been doing for 40 years, where everybody is just flat black when they come here. Your family built this place, and your kids don't have enough to be here. And now they're telling you the things that your family owns or should own here are not yours because y'all didn't bring the case back then, or you were in the photo and you don't own the photo. You have to stand up for this, or you can't have lineage going forward. Forget going backward. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and I overall, I just hope that everybody can get away from this Meghan Markle thing and it doesn't drag on. This woman, I love the analogy you ended with, where you said she ran into a burning home and then came out talking about ointment. Like,
it's ridiculous that we're talking about Meghan Markle and a Prince Harry on a day where they came out with a decision on a photograph with Harvard and ownership of that photograph regarding slavery. It's just awful. All right.
Appreciate it, Tone. As always, appreciate you calling in. Appreciate it. And let me just say this. This is my point. If there's one place, because yes, the Britain is totally implicated in the American slave trade, right? But they're also implicated in the global slave trade. And if there's one place that the diaspora should have connected and rejected, absolutely rejected something, it should have been rejecting this wedding and saying, listen, Britain has been complicit in colonialism, in slavery. They dropped off slavery. You saw the article where they dropped off slaves. This is my drop off point over here. They complicit in the global slave trade. What good is a diaspora that can't come together? Y'all talking about diaspora all the time. What good is a diaspora that can't come together and reject this wedding? Forget reject. You can't reject it, all this stupid stuff after the fact. Well, now that she leaving, I guess they really is racist. What you mean now that she leaving? They was racist. They have colonized the world and enslaved our people all over. And you gonna celebrate being married into that? Are you slow? Anyway, let me go to my next caller. I am going to 347. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Terrell from Brooklyn.
What's going on, Brooklyn?
What I was thinking was, I believe Meghan had an idea of what she was signing into. She just thought that she would be protected. So it was like, I'm signing into this, but I'm expecting to be protected. And that didn't happen. And it got to a point of where it was unbearable. Even though she knew she was getting into that, like, I don't think she was entirely unaware. She is educated. Something else. Before you and Tone, I did not have the language, the words to express what ADOS is, or the things that I saw going on, or even the knowledge. And I know that I ran across you and Tone by accident. There are a lot of people who have not had a chance to be educated, and so they're looking at that royal wedding as a chance or a thought that maybe they are finally seeing us as equals, not realizing how deep the history goes of racism and slavery and what has been done to us by them.
That's true. That's true. I can see that. They don't understand how like the webbing of this thing in terms of the tentacles of the monarchy, the British monarchy, and what they have been involved in and complicit with. Yeah, I can see that.
But I mean, when I was in high school, I had a high school teacher who told me one time, there was a time when the sun never set on a British flag. And it took me a long time to get a grasp of what that actually meant. And just how diabolical you had to be able to accomplish that. And I don't think we as people, we don't get it. I don't think we do. And I think a lot of it is just a real lack of education. And then it actually hurts when you do get it. I mean, it's a pain straight to the heart. It'll stop you, because it had stopped me one time in the middle of my day of where I started to really get it. I had to sit down for a minute. That's all. I won't stay on any longer than that. Thank you.
I appreciate it,
I
fam.
love you. I love Tone.
Love you back.
Keep doing.
Thank you, fam. Love you back. I appreciate you. Yeah, the sun never sets on the British flag. You know what that means? We colonize all these places. Listen, the sun is up. The sun is up somewhere that we got or whatever. I think I should have asked her, but yeah. I am coming to my next caller. I am coming to 415. 415. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing? This is Coy.
I'm from San Francisco, but I live in Fairfield.
Okay.
I just wanted to call and say, great show tonight. I love everything you've done for me.
Thank you.
I just wanted to call and say, you made an excellent case where I see that Black women will be attacked because under how you just explained in your show tonight, under the colorism thing, and you, like Tone said, she needed the acceptance of ADOS. You did the same thing with Kamala. So now I see how politically it's going to be used to attack us really hard. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate it.
Good night, fam.
Thank you. Good night. You have a good one, fam. Okay,
Yes.
I am going now to I'm going to 617. 617. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, that is Reggie from Boston.
Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just wanted to start off saying happy International Women's Day to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And happy International Women's Day to all women around the world except Meghan Markle. It's like I'm not doing it. Like on March 8th, International Women's Day, I'm not going to center a woman who married into the family responsible for the enslavement of women internationally. It makes absolutely no sense. And I really feel like it's what Meghan Markle represents and how these types of conversations keep coming up. It really gets me thinking about the past 20 years of history and just the utter confusion and the factors that were at play. Because like when you look at the 2000s, when a lot of us were growing up or becoming adults, or even, you know, as people like Meghan Markle was coming into adulthood, you had four things going on. You had an uptick in the embracing of intersectionality theory. You know, it started around the 80s, but the 2000s, like with social media and pop culture and all of that, it just really took hold. Second thing, you had a further uptick of Black immigration, because it explodes around the 80s, 90s. It really starts to pick up in 2000. The third thing where it also kind of ties into Meghan Markle, on the 2000 census is the first time when someone is able to check a mixed race category. So you have a whole bunch of Black people running away from Black. You can't be white, but I can be biracial. And then on top of that, because of the great political education that you and Tone have been given and anchoring us in people like Piketty, we now understand from the 2000s forward, there's a calcification of wealth in ways that we haven't seen in generations, like more than any time in American history. So when you put all of that together and you throw someone like Meghan Markle out there in the midst of all of that confusion, where you have a generation of Americans, and specifically Black people, and even more specifically ADOS people, confused on all things regarding race, lineage, gender, wealth, and politics. So it's no surprise to me that people are just projecting, through this. And we really got to give you and Tone your flowers, because, 3 years ago, y'all called it, with that other Meghan Markle show. And you talked about the consequence of not defining our group, of the consequence of a lack of group of cohesion and anchoring a collective politics, in our specific lineage. And it's showing up now. And I really appreciate how you tied it into Kamala, because even, Kamala is a reflection of that. And she is standing in the way of the uplift of Black people in America, specifically Black women. The Fight for 15, for example. 40% of black women, all black women, make less than 15. And you had Kamala Harris, who everybody anchored their black girl magic aspirations in, had the power. There was nothing stopping her from overriding the Senate parliamentarian and getting that $15 an hour question on the floor. So you have this black aberration who is not anchored in ADOS, who single-handedly, unilaterally stood in the way of the economic uplift of black women during a pandemic.
So let me say this, Reggie.
Hey.
I just want to distill what you're saying. Let me just make sure, because you said something really good and I just want to bring it home. You're saying that the woman who black women in America, ADOS women, are elevating is standing in the way of ADOS women.
Exactly. We could have possibly gone from 725, wherever you're at, to 15 overnight. I'm not saying that it would have passed, but that question would have been on the floor, and it's not something that Democrats could have run from, and we could have cashed that chip in. It was like, okay, if black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, and black women got you in, and 40% of black women make less than 15, that's accountability time. But nobody wants to talk about that, and I just gotta say, it's International Women's Day. I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on people, but look,
the truth
some
is
of
the
the black
truth.
women in these spaces, y'all got to figure it out, because these blue checks is crazy. This yes queen politics is gonna get us all killed.
Yes, queen politics. Yes, queen. Yes.
And again, I come back to the pandemic. And as it's starting to wind down in terms, we're still vulnerable as black people, but the vaccine is coming out, and you have states reopening, like businesses are going to reopen,
True.
parks, schools, jobs. You know what else is going to open? The housing court. And we know by the data that black women specifically are uniquely vulnerable to evictions. It's like I don't have the study in front of me, but
Yeah.
when they ran the studies for evictions for black women, it mirrored the incarceration rate for black men.
Mm-hmm. And let's go to the other thing and talk about how those two are connected. Because if you are in a household with a man, even if y'all aren't married, people don't understand that a lot of ADOS people couple together even when they're not married, partly because you need two different credits and all kinds of stuff. But part of the reason you're doing that is because what if you're with someone and he gets locked up or whatever? How does that impact your eviction? So we don't even talk about how those two things oftentimes, not all the time, but sometimes go together. But go on, Reggie, I'm going to let you finish your point.
Yeah, and that study was way before the pandemic, and the moratorium on eviction, that CDC one, it has no real teeth. I was having a conversation with a real estate lawyer here in Boston. In Massachusetts has some of the most tenant friendly laws in the United States, and we're in trouble. So I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the country. It's going to be a mess, and it's like, look, we have to figure it out, because it's like this new bait and switch they're doing. They're taking these people like Kamala Harris, like the Meghan Markles, the Joy Reids, and they're putting them in front of us and say, don't you dare criticize, because this is intersectional, but that's not going to help when the eviction notice comes.
Yeah,
y'all
that ain't
gonna figure it out.
That ain't gonna help.
Happy International Women's Day. That's all I got, Yvette.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate you. But yeah, you're right. That ain't gonna help. When the eviction notices come out, that's not your literature, your intersectional literature ain't gonna help. But and I think, we already know. I remember putting up the data about the black homeless number, and I don't think we understand, and we're gonna have to talk about it pretty soon. how that number has ballooned, and is ballooning because of a federal government that doesn't give a damn about us, and we still put Biden in the White House. That's why I said, I said dim down ballot. And I told people who called in, well, what if my Democrat ain't nothing? Well, find somebody else. Don't vote for that person. Vote for somebody else. Vote for Deputy Dog. Deputy Dog. You don't have to just be beholden to somebody because, oh my God, Trump is awful. Or, oh my God, whoever the Republican is. I remember, oh my God, Mitt Romney's just the devil. He the devil, the devil, the devil. He ain't the president you want, but you're gonna have to make somebody feel some pain politically if you want to get some kind of change, and people just don't seem ready to do that. And everybody's going to suffer the consequences unless they're ready to do real advocacy and make somebody pay a cost. That's just what it is. I didn't make it that way, so I appreciate a great call from Reggie. I'm going to my next call. I am going to 314. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. My name is Deborah, and I'm calling from St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. Meghan Markle. I don't feel sorry for Meghan Markle. I keep seeing them saying protect Meghan. Meghan said that she identifies as white.
What?
So
when she said that?
Protect her from what?
What she say? When she say that? I'm just asking a question.
She said in one of her old interviews, they asked her, does she identify as black or white? She said she identifies as white.
Oh, I didn't know that. You got to send me the link. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah. And then, so I told my sister, okay, I'm dark complexion.
Okay.
So I told my sister, I hope that baby turns out my color. And we just laughed because I know she's running away from being black. And they saying that she didn't know about Harry. He has black stickers. So I don't know what she thought she was married into. All of them over there crazy. But, and then I want to ask you about Kamala. Kamala is Indian, right? Her dad
Indian Jamaican, yeah.
is from Jamaica.
Yeah.
But he's Indian too. So why do these black people keep
I have heard rumors, but I haven't seen any proof that he's Indian too. I've heard that he's a quote unquote what they call the name that they called him, but I don't have no proof, so I can't say. So if I don't have no proof, I leave stuff alone. But I have heard that rumor, yes.
Okay. So she Indian, right? You think Biden don't know that Kamala is not Indian? He knows she Indian, but he told those people in South Carolina that he was going to pick a black woman. So what he did was he gave you an Indian. He laughed in our face. He gave you an Indian.
Well, why wouldn't they give us Kamala if they were able to get Obama off on us? I mean, he's a Kenyan and white, but he wasn't
I'm
Adolf.
talking about for the black people that voted for him.
Yeah.
They think a lot of black people think she black.
But we keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe every time. You know, if you fall for the same con, I'm gonna keep playing the same con on you. I do the little thing with the shells and move them around. If you keep falling for it, I'm gonna keep playing it.
Yes, I know. But they keep saying, well, he did the crime bill. Yeah, but he's still playing with you right in your face.
Yes.
But they still kept trying to tell me that she is black. And I know damn well she's not black. Ask her. Nobody asked her. Because she not going to tell you she black because she knows she not black. And they had an Indian lady on there saying, ask her if she black. She called her out. Said she'll never say she black. Ooh. But they won't ask her because the media, the people know, the powers that be, they know she not black. But they wanted Trump out of there so bad, so they left it alone. But I hate to see around here masquerading as black, and black people believe in it.
Well, I want to thank you, fam. I appreciate you calling in. You called in with a little bit of fire. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, fam. I just think, at a certain point, you just gotta stop falling for the same thing over and 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 over again. At a certain point, you gotta be like, okay, this is the game that's getting played on me, and I have to do something different because I don't want this game to get played on me again. And at a certain point, I hope that we get there. So we don't want the same game to be played. We get the same game played on us all the time. And part of the game, and I think that's going to be the last caller. We're at midnight, fam. Part of the game that gets played on us is kind of this bread and circus is like the only way to kind of talk about it, because it's this idea that, well, black people get caught up in anything. Just throw them something. Throw a Maury Povich or something. We don't care. Just throw something they weight, and they'll get caught up in it, and and they'll forget about what's really important. They always do. I've said before, I'm a fan of zombie movies, right? And one of the things that I always look at zombies as a kind of metaphor, if you will, of human beings, and the zombies just run towards what is the thing that makes the noise. That's just what they do. The brain is fine, and like, as the one thing you don't want to do, as like a thinking person, a political person, you don't want to always run towards the noise. And I know it's hard though, because the noise is everywhere. The noise is on the internet. The noise is on the TV. The noise is in the print paper. The noise is everywhere. But you have to have a true north for yourself, like the compass. You have to have your own true north that sets your direction. And my compass is going this way. It's not going that way. So I don't get taken with the wind. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm into. And so we have to do that, fam. We have to find our true north. And our true north is reparations. It is a transformative black agenda. It's transformative politics. That's our true north. All this other stuff is noise. And when you follow the noise, you get in a lot of trouble. So anyway, fam, please, before you go, make sure that you hit the like button. Please do not forget, on the 25th, Making Hispanics is the book. It's not long. Pick it up. We're going to have that conversation, family. Make sure you pick up the book. I would appreciate it, so we can have the book club. Hit the like button if you're in there. If you're still in there, before you go, think of hitting the like button is like hitting the lights. Hit that like button for me. If you make sure you hit that bell too. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed. Make sure you go to adolphsmerch.com for a shirt or something like that. Make sure you go to, what else? Subscribe to Brown. Subscribe, tobrown.com. That's free. Just add your name to my mailing list. Make sure you do that. Also, make sure, if you want to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell, $breakingbrown for the Cash App if you want to do that. But hitting that like button is an absolutely free way to help the show. So I would appreciate it if you would do that. That would mean a lot to me, fam. And I just want everybody to wear your mask as usual. We still in whatever we in, child. They got new guidelines out. I ain't gonna go through them, but we in whatever we in. So please wear your mask. Take care of yourself. Don't want you sick or nothing like that. And keep it easy breezy. Finish your libation. It's time to go to bed. And I will talk to you next time, fam.